Before I get into the main point of this video, I just want to say, real quick, SmackDown, is it just me, or is SmackDown in the past 5, 6, 7 weeks just not been nearly as compelling or great as it was prior to, like, the Rumble and the end of 2020? Like, SmackDown has had some good segments here and there, but it feels like the momentum on that show, at the moment, it feels kind of stifled. Is that just me? Do you agree with that? Leave down below, comment down below, engage, all that kind of stuff. Let's talk about that. So, that's that. Next, and the main point of this video, Daniel Bryan. Now, Daniel Bryan, in case you missed SmackDown, Bryan defeated Jey Uso inside a steel cage. Therefore, at the Fastlane pay-per-view on March 21st, I believe, we're getting a match between Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Now, I put in a community post and a tweet, and I've said this a couple of times in like Discord chats and whatnot. Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan is the perfect, quintessential 2021 Fastlane main event, okay? In 2021, with this Daniel Bryan character, that is the perfect Fastlane main event. Keyword, Fastlane, okay? Daniel Bryan in 2021, let me walk you through Daniel Bryan's character. So, Daniel Bryan, in his promo to open up SmackDown, really went in depth as far as his character. He got given about 6-ish minutes of a live microphone in the center of the ring. So really, that's a great opportunity for us as viewers to really see, the character of Daniel Bryan, see what he has to say, see his motives, see his purpose. So essentially, Daniel Bryan in this promo, in the heart of the road to WrestleMania, in a time period where Reigns vs. Edge should be getting the bulk of the priority, Daniel Bryan cuts a promo saying that he had the lowest ambition score of any WWE superstar who's ever been tested, but he loves this business, he loves wrestling, wrestling is what he loves, wrestling is everything for him, and then he felt like a failure when Edge was pointing at the WrestleMania sign, and he's going to beat Jey Uso in the cage later tonight. Yeah, so that promo really kind of reinstated everything I've been saying and thinking about Bryan for the past couple of months. The Daniel Bryan, the whole narrative with Daniel Bryan, that Daniel Bryan should have won the Royal Rumble, faced Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for the Universal title, have this big final hurrah. That's all grand and good when Daniel Bryan has momentum. Okay, you take 2014 Daniel Bryan, hell, 2015 Daniel Bryan as well, and put one of those two characters, or even 2019 Daniel Bryan, and put them against current Roman Reigns, that's a money banger WrestleMania main event level match. But this Daniel Bryan right now, the Daniel Bryan who's getting a Universal Championship match against Edge, the Daniel Bryan's getting a Universal Championship match against Roman Reigns 3 weeks before Reigns is defending against Edge at WrestleMania. The Daniel Bryan at the moment just ain't it, okay? This guy is not, by no means, from a character perspective, by no means from a personality perspective, by no means from a general all-round entertainer perspective, from a gimmick perspective, in none of those aspects is this Daniel Bryan even remotely close to being at a WrestleMania main event level. Even a main event of a pay-per-view against Roman Reigns level in the heart of WrestleMania season. Okay? WWE, if they did this right, would have had Reigns versus Bryan, they do their match, and all of that is done by the end of February, okay? Ideally, that's the case. Then we get 5 to 6 weeks of really good, focused build on Reigns versus Edge, okay? Really good, no BS with Daniel Bryan, no shenanigans with Bryan loving wrestling and wanting to get a match. No, none of that, no. Ideally what you do is, as I said just there, have Elimination Chamber, or you can have the Elimination Chamber be the only pay-per-view from Rumble to Mania. We have the Elimination Chamber match, Bryan wins it if he must, then he gets beaten by Reigns, end of story. Then you can come back to Reigns and Bryan sometime in the summer if you must, that's all good. And then you can do Reigns and Edge, build their thing up the whole of March and like half of April up to Mania. That's what you should be doing. But instead, WWE, they're just pissing around. Like, what are they doing? Like, straight up, like, what they're doing at the moment is legit, as I explained. Daniel Bryan cuts a promo saying that he had the lowest ambition score of any WWE superstar ever, but he loves wrestling. He feels he's never worked a day in his 21-year career because he loves what he does. He loves wrestling. and he wants to beat Roman Reigns for the title. Okay. Like this is the thing. Bryan, during his promo, literally said he's wrestled more matches in the past 3 weeks than Reigns and Edge have combined wrestled in the past 3 months. Okay. Since when is a World Universal Championship match at the main event of a pay-per-view the participation trophy for wrestling some matches? Like that doesn't work. That's not a gimmick. That's not a character. That's not a reason for us as viewers to go, yeah, Bryan's got momentum. He should beat Roman Reigns. What, because Bryan wrestled a few matches on SmackDown? What, because Bryan wrestled in like the middle of the second hour on SmackDown a week ago? Because he did that, therefore, he should be facing Roman Reigns in the main event of a pay-per-view for the Universal Championship 3 weeks before Reigns is set to face Edge for the Universal title? Like this whole thing with Daniel Bryan, I've made it abundantly clear. This version of Daniel Bryan should not be main eventing a pay-per-view or WrestleMania or whatever with this character, okay? That should be abundantly clear because this version of Daniel Bryan is not in position to do so because he has no momentum, no storyline that's really behind him. If you're going to do Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns in the main event of a pay-per-view, either at WrestleMania or the road to WrestleMania, you need to have Bryan winning matches from November, December, January, picks up lots of momentum. He's really telling a story about how, he's the guy who the fans have always wanted, that Reigns is the guy who corporate have always wanted, and Bryan's fighting against the machine, and Bryan's character gets all this underdog momentum. He's going against the evil Roman Reigns. That's what you need to do. Because the other big factor in this is that Daniel Bryan is 5'6", okay? That he aesthetically does not look like a guy who could just beat up Roman Reigns. And that, when the character has no momentum, that is a big issue, okay? Because when Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns were standing face to face from each other last week, or the week before that, whatever, when they're opening the show, Bryan's standing across from Reigns. Bryan, he's wearing some random flannel long sleeve shirt with the cufflinks pulled up. So it's like a half-length, long-sleeve shirt. He's got his hair cut, where he looks like he's trying to be some hip 21-year-old. He's about 5'6". Reigns is about 6'2". So Reigns is just towering this guy. Bryan, he's hardly Eddie Guerrero, okay? So, for his height, he's not ripped. So I'm looking at this confrontation, and I'm feeling like this is it. This is what people wanted to see in the main event of WrestleMania, this. That was my gut feeling 2 weeks ago. And the fact of the matter is, now we're getting that match in, 2 and a bit weeks' time? We're getting that match at Fastlane 3 weeks before WrestleMania. The pay-per-view schedule this year for WWE is just, it's munted, it's stuffed. The fact that you have Fastlane 3 weeks before WrestleMania, I get Peacock, yeah, whatever, get content, pay-per-views, yada yada. I get it. But the fact that they're doing it, the fact that WrestleMania is just going to happen 3 weeks after. WrestleMania, what you should be doing in an ideal world is having the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania. Ideally it's the Rumble, but I get it. Nowadays, you have to have pay-per-views. So the last pay-per-view is the end of February, whether that's the Chamber, whether that's Fastlane. Quite frankly, I don't give a damn. The fact of the matter is, WrestleMania should get ample build-up. Reigns and Edge, the real WrestleMania dream match, main event caliber match, that match should be getting ample build between the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania and WrestleMania. But what are WWE doing? They're giving it 3 weeks because Daniel Bryan, with no character momentum, needs to have a match against Roman Reigns. Because a bit of the vocal minority on Twitter were crying for this about a month ago. And there's still a few people whining that Reigns and Edge has no story, and that Reigns vs. Bryan has a story, even though the Daniel Bryan promo last night on SmackDown literally told everyone, no, this really doesn't have a story. Bryan just loves wrestling matches, and he's just in this spot because he has creative control. That's legit it. So, that's been the video. I'm going to get out of here. Daniel Bryan, personally, I do like the guy, because as much as the video comes off as I hate Daniel Bryan, that's not what I intend to say, mean, imply, whatever. I like Daniel Bryan. However, I feel like when he has no character momentum, it is just redundant having him in the heart of WrestleMania season in bloody March, having full SmackDown storylines against Roman Reigns, when quite literally in 4 weeks' time, we're getting Reigns versus Edge for the Universal title in the main event of WrestleMania. It's backwards, it doesn't make sense. Could this not have waited for the pay-per-view after WrestleMania? How are you booking this? Could this not have just waited? Does this need to happen when we should be building up to Reigns and Edge? No. So that's been the video. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, sure, like, comment, sub. It's no drill. I think I've said about enough on this topic. You guys get my point. I've made it abundantly clear. Like, comment, sub. See ya.